Aha! You thought I was gonna review Daylight, weren't you? Well, guess what, dum-dums? I'm reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, you probably guessed that from the title, but this is a Five Nights at Freddy's review. I never took that much of an interest in the games, probably because they're horror games and I'm a bit of a wuss. I don't want to donate any time to this. Excuse me for a moment, I gotta reload this. There we go. Yeah, so, this movie, the game. What do I think of the game? Never played this because I'm a wuss. It is a horror game, and I don't like jump scares. This is the kind of jump scare that really gets me. Like, it comes out of nowhere. Like, it really gets you. And then you have nightmares for the next few weeks because you just imagine that thing jumping out at you in your dreams. Yeah, it's great. Thanks for that, Scott Coffin. But yeah, I never really cared about this movie when it was going to come out. But then I was dragged along by a friend. I wouldn't say dragged along, he invited me, and I couldn't deny him. So I went along and I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked this movie. Except there's a good few problems that we gotta discuss. But before we get to that, what's the movie about? So it's about Mike Schmidt, played by everyone's favorite Hunger Games wussy, Josh Hutcherson. He was in a lot of the Hunger Games films, and was basically the damsel in distress, except he was a dams in distress. I don't know. So that was a great voice crack there, great job. So he gets fired from his job, and he's hired by this guy who has an interest in this place called Freddy Fazbear's. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Sorry, I get the title and the title of the shot of the thing confused. Can you blame me? Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a lot of angry FNAF fans in the comments saying, "You don't know the lore." Yeah, well, guess what? I'm going by what I think the plot is, because I don't follow FNAF lore. I don't watch all those map path videos because I don't have the time. I'm too busy watching real content, like Better Call Saul or the Studio Ghibli films. Ranking video coming in a few days. Wink. So, yeah. It's a very complicated franchise, but I'm just going by the knowledge that I know, which is that you are security guarding and you have to survive Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, that's basically the core. But I've heard that you can get to night 7. Like, this is Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's. The 5 is literally in the title. And in game 2, you can you can go to night 7. Like, what does that mean? Like, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of angry comments saying that I don't know what the lore is or I don't know how the game works, but I've never played it. Why do you go to night 7? Isn't it only 5 nights? Isn't that the goddamn title of the game? Who cares? Probably lots of people, but I don't care. I really don't care. But I'm reviewing this movie, and I'm gonna damn review it. So yeah, Hutcherson plays this guy called Mike Schmidt. He keeps getting fired from other jobs he does because he's bad at it. How many times have you heard this subplot before in a movie? Kids movies. And this isn't even a kids movie. It's for not adults. Yeah, people have kind of openly stated that the PG-13 for horror movies is kind of like the kiss of death. Because horror movies are known for being R-rated, or 15 or 18. So having a horror film as famous as this, that's been in production for 9 years, only be PG-13, you bet your sweet buttocks a lot of people were really annoyed that this was PG-13, because a lot of great horror movies are rated PG-13, because that's a new R, I guess. You can get away with a lot more PG-13. Have you seen Captain Phillips? The way those 3 pirates died, trust me, it's graphic. Not as graphic as what happens in United 93. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the plot. So yeah, Mike Schmidt is bad at his jobs, but he gets hired to work at this closed down place called Freddy Fazbear's, and he begins to notice that the animatronics come to life at night. So he tries to figure out what's going on while also trying to survive the other 4 nights. And also trying to take care of his younger sister, who is trying to be taken away into custody by their Aunt Jane. So, yeah. It is a very, very simple plot. That gets confusing if you play the other games. But I've never played the games, I just know the basic knowledge. So what do I think of this movie? Aside from the fact that it's a PG-13 kiss to death when it comes to horror movies. Honestly, my biggest problem with the movie is that there are so many scenes, and I mean so many scenes, where they explain the plot, the backstory, like, in full. Like, okay, sure, you can just give, like, I don't know, basic details and then let the audience find out for themselves instead of explaining all of it in one go. Look, that's kind of dumb. And it happens so many times throughout the movie to the point where it becomes repetitive. And like I said, the plot is very predictable, especially with how the whole Mike Schmidt can't keep a job and has to take care of his sister thing. That plot sounds like the most kid-friendly, marketable, safe thing I've heard in any film. A guy trying to take care of a younger person and can't keep jobs? That doesn't sound like a FNAF movie. That sounds like an after-school special on NBC in the 90s. This is a very dumb plot, but I think what saves it is that the characters are extremely likable, especially Mike and Abby. Their chemistry together is really good, and there's lots of twists I really didn't expect, but I will not get into here because if I spoil the film any further, because I scrolled down here, then I will be crucified by the FNAF gang, and trust me, you don't want to be crucified by the FNAF gang, or the FNAF fans. They're basically the same. I mean, gang is like 4 or 5 people, and the FNAF community is like, what, 1,000,000 people? So being crucified by 1,000,000 people is definitely a lot of crucifixions. I'll have little crucifixions for my fingers, and then crucifixions for those crucifixions, and then crucifixions for those crucifixions for those crucifixions, for my own crucifixion. I'm saying crucifixion too much. It doesn't even sound like a word anymore. Am I going insane? I think I am, because I've seen this thing so all over the place. FNAF this, FNAF that. It's like such a, like, it was in production for 9 years. It went through production hell. The 9 rings of Dante's hell. And it got all the way back only to get negative reviews from critics because it's dumb. Like, yeah. It's like the Mario movie all over again. Even down to the same freaking company. Universal distributed the Mario movie. If I can just find their current catalog. Yeah, look. The Super Mario Brothers movie, Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, of course. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, perfect. Amazing. Yeah, like, come on. It's not that much of a coincidence It's absolutely a coincidence that they released 2 video game films, same company, and both of them got bad reviews by critics and positive reviews from fans. Like, it's basically the same thing all over again, only this time and they're both movies that went through production hell, and I've both given them the same rating, 7.5, because they're fine movies. Of course, I have more of a connection with Super Mario Brothers because I actually play the games, but I still like this movie as a movie because the characters are likable. It's well acted, and I haven't even gone to the sets and animatronics yet, which they are crazy. Apparently, these were made by Jim Henson's production company. May rest in peace. And they look really good. I mean, they're people in suits, but the one that's a complete animatronic is Foxy. Because, I mean, they couldn't really get a person to play Foxy because, well, he has very robotic body parts. I mean, they could have gone a dwarf to, be on stilts, but I think that would be kind of bad. Speaking of, don't you love how they're using CGI for the Snow White remake instead of having, like, actual dwarves to play them? Because, that's what we want. That's what we need, not all that bullcrap of just Like, it's really dumb. Like, non-dwarf actors playing dwarf characters. Like, they're doing no CGI. Wouldn't it be easier to have dwarf actors who want to make a living, like Peter Dinklage did, like, and not actually have a career, but instead having it shafted because we can use CGI. No, this is I'm going insane. I've completely gone off topic. Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm starting to go off topic a lot in this video, but I'm sorry. This is like, it's so hard to talk about this film without going into spoilers, or just like not offending the FNAF community, because if I do, then I'm dead. Like, I'm really dead. Like, I can already hear the wood, like the lumberjack sales at Home Depot's, the lumberjack being sold out at Home Depot's, because they're getting the crucifixions and the nail guns ready, because of course I'm gonna die because I'm reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, this movie is something else, man. I use headphones for the scenes of jump scares and at the nights, and honestly, that's my next problem. The jump scares. It's that kind of movie where there's jump scares that come out of nowhere, like huh, huh, huh. Like, that's a bad way to do a jump scare. They just have them come out of nowhere. I mean, of course, it can't just be, jump scare after jump scare after jump scare for like every 20 seconds, like the game, but at least have them be built up, not have them come out of nowhere like all the time, like that, or even worse, like at different speeds. Of course, what I do appreciate is that it's a well-written film. The characters are likable. The animatronics and sets are great. I mean, the film was co-written and co-produced by the guy who made the game, so that's kind of a reason why it's so good. And the twists are very unique. And Matthew Lillard is in this movie. The guy who plays Shaggy is in this. How awesome is that? So, yeah, I give this film a 7.5. It's a good movie. I will never watch it again because it's a horror film, and I don't like horror films, except for the Blair Witch Project, because that film's a great masterpiece. Not masterpiece, but it's an amazing film. You should watch it. Not the sequel or the remake, though, because they kind of suck, from what I've heard, and they look bad, because when have sequels and remakes ever been good? Am I right? Am I right? I'm probably not right, but because there's lots of great bad sequels out there, like, and remakes and adaptations. Like, is there anything original in Hollywood anymore? Anything that's unique? Anything that attaches with anyone whatsoever? God, I should review an original movie next. An original movie from the 80s, released in 1983 specifically, that takes place in the farthest continent in the world, was released in Japan, and also features huskies. I know that's very specific, but also I really want to like it. I know it's very specific, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. It probably doesn't even exist. Like, how can a film that sounding that stupid even exist? Like, come on, it's hysterical. Oh boy.